Welcome, friend and fellow rebuilder. Today, I want to share some personal thoughts on the brevity of life and why the legacy that you are living every single day and the impact that you are making every single day matters more than you may have ever considered. In case you haven't been here before, I'm Pamela Jay, your host of the Rebuild Podcast. In 2015, I lost everything, a husband, 2 homes, and a business, and went on to design, create, and live a freedom-filled life. And I did that primarily through eliminating all of my consumer debt, my dumb debt, and acquiring long-term rental real estate. I'm here to teach you how to do the same. But today's episode, today's teaching, today's lesson, whatever you want to call it, is a little different because I'm getting a little more personal. So if you'll bear with me, let's dive into what I want to talk about today. Friday evening, March 20th, I received a call from a family member. This family member was quite distraught, and I learned that my brother had just succumbed to life. He was taken suddenly and unexpectedly, and it caught every single one of us by surprise. I had 4 siblings, my older brother who passed away, and then another brother and 2 sisters. So we just thought we were going to be around forever. And, God, with his plans and sense of humor, had different work for my brother to do. And one of the things I just want to say is he was probably one of the most joy-filled persons that I knew. He would give his last shirt off of his back. If you needed it, he would give it to you. We just don't know when life is going to be taken from us. And I want to share some of my thoughts around that and why you want to also consider some of these things. So let's go into the brevity of life. You do not know when your appointed time is going to come. None of us knows when our appointed time is going to come. We all have one. We just don't know when it's going to be. None of us thought that my brother would be taken so early. He had so much life in him. He was healthy. He was happy. He had been making vacation plans, leaves behind a wife and 2 adult children and 3 grandchildren. And it's extremely sad. And we're all just trying to process this still. So one of the things that it really made me start thinking about is, am I ready? Are you ready? Are you ready for the day that this happens to you or to one of your particular loved ones? Do you have any unresolved issues? One of the worst things we can do is go into our death with unresolved issues. And by unresolved issues, I mean unforgiveness, arguments, apologies that maybe you need to make, grudges that you're holding. Are you going to your potential deathbed at any given point in time, the time that is appointed for you, with any of these things over your head? I think that it is very difficult to pass away that way. And not only is it difficult for you as an individual, it's difficult for who you leave behind. So you want to make sure that anything that you have is resolved. Now, you don't have any control over the way another person's going to respond. You only have control over what you do, your actions, and the responsibility that you take, the forgiveness that you're able to give, and the grudges that you're able to release, any apologies that you need to make. You can give those, whether the person's alive or not. I know with my mom, she and I didn't get along very well. And my dad had passed away when he was 29, so I was very young, like 3 years old. But my mom, she lived longer, and she and I just never really saw eye to eye. And I think it might have had something to do with me being the oldest daughter and just a lot of chaos that was going on in her life. And so we had unresolved issues. I had to, in her death, make resolve to apologize genuinely because I believe that she can hear me. Apologize to my dad for really not taking care of her maybe the way that I should have, or even honoring her maybe like the way he would have. I was still a little, I would call it immature about all of it. I'm grateful to say that that has taught me a life lesson. And now my brother passing has taught me a life lesson. And the importance of just taking care of business, taking care of relational business. It's so essential for us. And again, you don't have any control over what anyone else does. It can even be a family member that you're dealing with. But what you want to do is have resolve with that, not hold on to the grudge, not hold on to the unforgiveness for those people. I think Jesus on the cross was, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." And that's a really good thing to take into your life. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. So that is super important because that is our way to heaven. It really is our way to heaven, and to have as little to account for as possible when we get there. I think that's kind of the goal. Have as little to account for as possible. And it's also going to cause you to live a more joy-filled life, I believe, if you can resolve those issues. The next step I want to go into is your living legacy. I mean, how are you living? How are you living day to day? Are you building relationships, or are you only focused on making money? Are you taking time? Like, I know there's that whole saying, stop and smell the roses, but really, are you stopping and taking time to interact? If you've got young kids at home or children at all, are you hearing what they're saying when they want to talk to you, or just knee deep in your phone scrolling, doom scrolling, or knee deep in TV, or distracted by work? So you want to make sure that you're really fostering relationships, because what you're modeling is what they're catching. Do you truly experience joy every single day? Are you able to experience joy every single day? We want people to look at us and say, "I want what she has. I want that joy." So what impact are you making? My brother, I know he's with the Lord. He was a believer. He worked hard. He loved hard. He gave hard. So he's a measure for me. He left a gaping hole in our family. And I want to be able to be more like that. And I think he left a good example, even though he went sooner than any of us would have wanted, and probably even than he would have wanted, because of all the plans he was making. But we make our plans and the Lord guides our path, right? He directs our path. And we just don't know. So how are you living? That is the question you want to ask every day. How are you living? And then how are you impacting the lives of others each and every day? Do they want to know your life secret? Do they want to, like I mentioned earlier, have your joy? Do they want to live like you do? Are you modeling a life that they want to live? Your loved ones, do they want to live like you? Do they want to be like you? Are you sharing stories and family history with your bloodline? That everybody wants to know family history. I used to think, what is all this genealogy stuff in the Bible? What is this bloodline and this son and this son and this son and this son? And I was like, oh gosh, this is so boring. Until one day I had an epiphany and I was like, oh my goodness, this is to show us that bloodline matters. Blood matters. Your history matters. And there's an account for it. And when you're a child, you want to know, how am I connected? Where are my roots? How is this tree part of me? Where do I fit into all of it? And so are you sharing those stories? And if you're not allowed to share those stories, are you documenting them somehow? Because this is important for your family, for your children, for your grandchildren, for your grandchildren's children, for generations, to be able to know from where they came. I'm not a big fan of those DNA sites. I'm a bigger fan of documenting and sharing the stories and sitting on a front porch in a rocking chair and remember when, and this is what your mom used to do, and this is what your dad used to do, and we thought it was so funny. And their children really do enjoy that and love that. So are you sharing those stories? Are you creating memories, experiences, and they don't even have to be costly? I mean, just sitting around and playing games is a memory creation versus scrolling on your phone. I remember so much playing games. We were big game players, or at least I thought we were. Maybe we weren't, but it's what I remember. I remember Christmases that really weren't full of gifts, but I just remember the experience leading up to Christmas, the songs we used to sing, and sitting at night in the dark with the tree lights on and playing Christmas music. Those are the things that I really remember. And baking a lot of cookies. So that was a lot of fun. That was my gift I gave to people, was a lot of cookies. It didn't even have to be expensive at all. And handmade, homemade gifts. And I think they're making a comeback. So I love that homemade gifts are making a comeback. So what is the impact that you're leaving? Are you handing down recipes and crafts and things to your children and to your grandchildren so that they can carry on those traditions, those skills? It's super important to be able to do that and have the time to do that. And again, like I said, if you don't get to do it physically, you can do it via journaling and leaving them crafts, leaving them instructions, leaving them recipes, whatever it is that you can do. Maybe create a memory box if that's something that you need to do. I know a lot of families right now are estranged and the grandparents have no contact with the grandchildren. So if you can start creating a memory box that you then fill it with the things that you want that grandchild to know and remember about you, and then be able to give that when they're 18 after your passing, you choose an executor to be able to do that for them. I think that's one of the most special gifts that you could give them. So your family doesn't have to be together for you to create that kind of memory. You just need to, reclaim your authority and do what you need to do in order to pass that legacy on, pass that impact on. If you have that kind of division in your family, then here you go. You have an answer to how you can resolve that. And again, you have no control over anyone else and how they respond, yet you have complete control and accountability over how you respond and your actions and what you're modeling and what you're leaving behind, what you're living on a daily basis. I think it's so important. My brother's death has really caused me to reflect, and I just thought maybe this could help one or more of you out there. Maybe this is really impacting you if you're listening to this, and you're going to make a difference now in your life because somebody close to you passed away or is close to it. Or you want to do things different, like get your house in order, get your will in order, get your trust in order, all the things that you want to leave behind so that there isn't a mess to clean up when you're gone. Super important. Again, you don't know when your time is up, when God calls you home for his purpose. And I really do believe that my brother was called home for a greater purpose. We do have some of that division in our family. I believe that my brother will be a huge instrumental part in bringing unity back to our family, bringing closeness back to our family, helping us recognize what's important and what's not, to really stop sweating the small stuff and really focus on the big stuff, to let go of unforgiveness, to let go of bitterness. Don't let that root of bitterness continue to fester and grow inside of us. And I encourage that for you as well. And I want to be that instrumental person that my brother is going to be able to use me through God, of course, to be able to make an impact and make a difference in our family. I want to show the joy that my brother had on his face every single day. I want the people to talk about me the way that they're talking about my brother. I can't even tell you all of the people that have come out to send me messages via Facebook or Instagram or text messages or phone calls with stories about my brother and memories that they had with him. And it's just so exciting from years ago to current. Regardless of who he impacted, he made a positive impact. I want my life and legacy to be like that. And I want him to use me through God to bring our family back together, to end this division, the squabbling, the sweating of the small stuff. And so, yes, my brother has work to do from heaven. And the question is, what work will I do? What work will you do while we're here on earth? We are the boots on the ground. We absolutely are the boots on the ground until our dying breath. And these are the things to ponder over the next week after you watch this video or listen to this podcast and think about, maybe re-listen, share it with some people that you know could get value out of this. If you got value, fantastic. Like it, follow me, subscribe, all the things, because we are going to be here in this community just very honest about what's going on in life, share from our hearts, but also at the same time, be rebuilding a freedom-filled life so that you can have options. You can do what you want when you want within your own budget. And that is the goal. Well, friend, until next time, please stay well. Keep considering the legacy that you're living and the impact that you're going to make, because life is short. Peace.